Most newcomers do a lot of research when they're planning to move to Canada. That research is mostly about the objective and measurable things like jobs, cost of living, accommodation, schooling, and that's the kind of research that we did when we were moving to Canada.
But when we actually moved to Canada, we've realized how much of real and most critical and subjective information we were missing. Some things you simply cannot learn throughout research.
So in this video, we want to share some unmeasurable things about Canada. These are the things that you can't just find online. And we hope that this will help you prepare for your move to Canada even better.
If there is something important you think we're missing, do share your experience in the comments below. And in the meantime, let's get started. Canadian friendliness is twofold. Canadians are super welcoming and helpful. Yes, they are famous for being polite, and it's true, but making true friends with Canadians is harder than you might think. I remember one spring day during my first months in Canada, I was chatting with a colleague, and I briefly mentioned that my parcel from my back home is delayed, and I have no spring clothes to wear. Guess what? The next day, my colleagues brought me clothes and gifted them to me. Some items were still brand new with tags. I don't know if she specifically bought it or had some of her own clothes she didn't need, but this absolutely melted my heart, and I was infinitely grateful for this kind gesture. In my culture, this gesture is an ultimate act of kindness and an act of openness to connect and become friends. But in Canada, random acts of kindness are just that, random. The relationship with my colleague didn't go much beyond this kind gesture and a distanced yet polite working relationship. It felt strange and unfinished. What I've learned over time is that most friendships in Canada are built during school and university years, so Canadians tend to stick to their childhood friends and aren't actively seeking new friends later in life. It does get easier if you're moving to a big city like Toronto. Every second person in Toronto has moved to Toronto from somewhere else, even inside Canada. So when I moved to Toronto for work, I easily made friends with my new Canadian colleagues because they were two newcomers from other provinces. Another great way to make friends is by enrolling in college or university. This works for any age. You could do your master's or PhD. It is not uncommon to move to another city or province for education, so you have a higher likelihood of meeting someone who's also looking to make friends because they're new there. I keep seeing that many newcomers get really confused by Canadian politeness and friendliness. When they're looking for a job, for instance, the interview was great, the interviewer was polite and friendly, and they said that they love your profile, but then you get rejected. So if everything went great, why are they rejecting me or even worse, ghosting me? That's the thing. Canadians will never openly tell you in your face what they really think. In my experience, only some American recruiters were upfront on my candidacy during the interview process. So all in all, it is a steep learning curve to learn how to read between the lines of Canadians, take their friendliness at face value, and learn how to understand all social cues and nuances. It is an art many of us will be mastering for decades.
Here's something else that many newcomers note after living here for some time. Canadians go with the flow. Canadians generally do not protest against things that bother them the most. That comes from a general culture of conflict avoidance. Canadians like to discuss how they hate the current government and the laws online, but you won't see them gather and fight for their opinion and their rights. It sometimes feels like there are two different worlds, online and real life. In real life, Canadians stick to neutral or generally positive topics and stay away from controversial discussions about religion or politics. It was shocking to us at first since we came from an ultimately oppressed country where freedom of speech practically doesn't exist. So coming to the free Western country only to experience uncomfortable side-eye each time you make a controversial statement feels off. Does the freedom of speech even exist at all? I've learned that this trait has a lot to do with the education system. In school, Canadians are prevalently taught soft skills, how to communicate and exist within the same society in harmony. It does not put an emphasis on developing hard skills, competition, or achievement. It focuses on raising a tolerant, peaceful, and obedient society. We've had an interesting conversation with a primary school teacher a few months ago about early education system in Canada and how it works. You can watch this interview on our channel here. One of the things that surprised me the most is that parents are not really encouraged to transfer gifted children to the special schools for smart kids. They prefer to keep children within the standard education system. And I get that. In the end of the day, we all exist within the same society. And society is a collection of different individuals. It is much better to create a diverse society where everyone can coexist and interact peacefully. As a result, all the brightest minds decide to move to the US for better education, job opportunities, and higher salaries. Let me know what your thoughts on this are. I'd love to know your take on this, especially if you're Canadian-born.
Another thing I've observed is that the Canadian society is trusting and open to a fault. We're all counting on law obedience so much that it becomes a breeding ground for scammers in Canada. Scams happen as early as when you start thinking about moving to Canada. There are scammers who will try to sell you their fake services to help you get a visa. This is why we always only recommend to work with licensed immigration professionals. We will leave a link to the official Canada.ca website where you can check who has a license. So then you come here and there are scammers who will try to get your money through fake job postings, renting your fake accommodation, stealing your identity and personal information, or cracking your bank account. It's never ending. Just this week, I got 2 messages from fake recruiters offering me some remote job that just like that, no job interviews, no references, nothing. Anastasia once got a phone call from a fake TD Bank representative about some non-existent unauthorized transaction. Good thing that she wasn't even a client of the bank, so it was easy to catch this scam. Fake package shipment links. Messages about unpaid custom fees, or even worse, missing tax payment notifications have become a pretty much standard thing for every Canadian. There are also multiple scams on various marketplaces, people selling fake goods and services, or sending fake Interac payment transfers that don't actually have any payments. Some of the scams can be very subtle and intricate, so unfortunately many people fall victims to that. They lose their money, and the worst part is that police can't do much to help. It's terrible, especially if you're a newcomer and your savings is all you have in the new country and you don't have a job yet. So please, please stay vigilant, and as bad as it sounds, trust no one, especially if there is a remote chance of someone getting close to your personal information and money.
Shifting gears a little bit, this next point is applicable to the whole North America, not just Canada. It is especially significant for those who come from the non-Western countries. How you communicate matters more than what you can do. We're lucky to have met some of the most experienced and qualified newcomers through our career coaching practice. We've worked with professionals from a diverse set of industries, from civil engineering to agriculture to video game development and machine learning. Some have worked on world-class projects. But nevertheless, despite their impressive resume and experience, they struggle greatly. Many struggle specifically with the interviews. North American success on the job market is built on networking, so if you're looking for a job with no network, it becomes even more critical to communicate well, captivate your listener, and be memorable. If you don't speak well about yourself, who will? It is vital to know very well your own strengths, projects you worked on, your achievements and goals. It is even more important to know how to deliver this information to your audience in a precise and concise way. It is extra challenging for newcomers who come here with a so-so English and try to compete with native English speakers in the job market, and is by far the most important skill I recommend everyone to develop. Practice your English, practice presenting yourself and talking about your experience and your strengths. With practice comes confidence, and confidence is also often one of the winning components of success in life. Sometimes it may seem like it's all walk and no talk, and it's just the reality. It's the clear communicators that get those jobs and promotions that you want. When you don't have anyone else to speak for yourself, marketing your skills and achievements is a crucial part of building your personal brand, your reputation, and networking. We've also talked about networking and why it is so important in job search in this video, so make sure to check it out.
Another thing that was impossible to comprehend while doing research from my home country is how banking system in Canada operates. I knew that banking is outdated in Canada, but I thought, hey, how bad can it be? Well, turns out it is pretty bad. Bank services and banking system in Canada are oligopolized, so they have no incentives to do better. They are conservative, slow, and outdated. If you come from Europe or Asia, you will notice an extreme lack of digitalization and a complete disregard to customer experience. For instance, receiving snail mail from your bank is a common thing in Canada. Even if you go on the app and mark in the settings that you don't want paper mails, you will still be getting some snail mail from the bank. I've had to call them, hold on the line for half an hour waiting for the operator to getting ping-ponged between departments just so that I could change the setting in their legacy system and finally stop receiving the recycling material I end up throwing away the moment I open it. When you speak to customer service of the bank, they will feel like they're robots following scripts. If your conversation falls out of the scripted lines, you will get transferred to another specialist, and then another, and then another. And for each of them, you will need to repeat why you're calling them over and over again. This is hours and hours of your personal time spent on conversations trying to solve issues that should have been solved just by clicking a few buttons in the mobile app. I remember we were opening a business bank account with one of Canadian banks with Anastasia. First, to open a bank account in Canada, you need to show up at the bank in person. You cannot do it online. Okay. Next, the bank rep was filling in our application forms on the computer. He clicked OK and just started making small talk. We were in a rush, so we told him, let's get over with it. To which he responded, I can't go faster, I can't open the next form and fill it in while waiting because this system is so old and fragile, I will crash it if I have multiple windows open. Okay, here's one last example for you. I was traveling to Quebec once, and since they didn't expect transactions from Quebec, they blocked my account because they thought someone else stole my card. Okay, this is great. Is their fraud protection measure working perfectly? So I called them to fix this. After a long wait on the line, they asked me to come to the office in person to confirm my identity. I went to the office only to be told by the worker that there is this phone on the desk in the corner. I need to go pick up that phone and sit there waiting for a phone call and answer security questions from their fraud department representative. So let's sum up. It took me over 2 hours of calling just to be called to visit a branch in person so that I could talk to the fraud department on the phone again. As the time goes, humans get used to the way things are day after day and forget about the small inconveniences. And we only get a sharp reminder when we travel to other countries or our home country and feel that abrupt difference in technology, customer experience, and above all, mentality. Mentality takes decades to understand. It is shaped by the nation's history and culture and passed down by generations. When you are a newcomer, you are forced to let go of our preconceived notions and beliefs and start learning the Canadian way of doing things. All in all, it's not better or worse, it's just different. And I hope this video helps you understand Canada a little bit more. If you want to learn more about things that shocked us in Canada, check out this video where we talk about things we still can't get used to in Canada after all these years living here. And make sure to hit the like button to let YouTube know that you've enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel not to miss our future videos about Canada. If you want to support the work that we do on this channel, you can do so by becoming our channel member. You can find all the links in the description box below this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.